No.
Bomb.
Alrighty. All set.
Let's go. There we go. Hopefully that makes a difference. Why on the map is there something called the Eldine Boy?
The what now? The what?
Right next to the word passage at the top. It
I'm
says
looking.
Eldine Boy. It's not Eldine Bay.
Yeah, it was 50 Bay.
Oh, Eldine Bay. Got it. Okay, I feel better now.
That makes much more sense.
Yes.
I think I feel worse.
Oh. Oh my god. Nope, it's Eldine Boy now.
There we go. So, do I want to recap some hardcore?
It's to be, yes, you're doing recap to hardcore, sir. In fact, I will put on another one.
Another banger, if you will.
I've got a whole playlist of this. We can go all day long.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go to that playlist and delete it?
Just real quick. No,
There you go.
Share that around the world. Oh my god. Now this is a recap song. I'm ready.
Oh, listen, it gets better.
Oh my god. Hold on. I have to send this to Vanna 1 second.
Oh, solid recap music. Go for it, babe. Your stage is set.
Yeah,
For it,
the-
babe.
Oh,
I'm just gonna eat another chip right now.
I'm just.
and listen to this piece of majestic music.
There once was a girl who lived in the Midwest.
Go, Vitchus, go!
Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, don't you worry. This playlist keeps going, and it gets so much better.
So, I'm actually like trying to remember because this was like what 3 weeks ago now.
No.
A wee bit of time.
we kind of started midway through the battle, and it pretty much was at the point where you were. All right, no, I gotta do something about hardcore. I'm sorry.
All right.
Silence. Silence. It is actively disrupting my concentration.
Get ready, everybody. Mom's disappointed.
Oh no.
Everyone take 9 levels off your turn.
What have you done?
All right.
I will find something more appropriate.
I might have some. Well, it's just Hogwarts Legacy, or it's like the main screen.
Yeah, I was just gonna put on the Slytherin room. There you go.
Yeah, and it was in the middle of the fight against the Death Knight that you were against, the one sort of in the jester-ish outfit. It was the fight was kind of ended up reaching near its conclusion relatively quick. The biggest thing in the fight was just Sujin kind of signature sleet storming to kind of keep everything at bay. The fight kind of changed and was over relatively quickly, and it was a conversation with what at that time appeared to be the two kind of, forms or bodies for Mercurius. Basically, without it being really disclosed what was going on or having too much of a sense of why it was happening, basically all he simply said was, that he was trying to lure lure people in the group to know more of what was going on, specifically aiming for a singular adventuring group to notice and come here. And that the idea was to basically stall whatever this situation was as long as it could be stalled in order to draw that attention. And that by coming in and fighting and actually breaking their way in, it forced him to be more active. It forced him to have to draw an end to this quicker. And as a result, one of them moved out and basically killed the entire military company in one spell.
Just some just minor war crimes.
So, meteoring like several neighborhoods all at once. What came after that was a bit of a, not quite a standoff. Like, Sujin did react to him approaching him, but there wasn't very much of a payoff to this, or really too much going on, except for him really kind of bringing that, like what Leopold said, very similarly to why he was in it. It was more of a question of, well, what did they do to get you in? And it was more of the, again, threaten my bloodline, threaten this and that. Part of the, I didn't want you to be here, partially because of this, because this is drawing attention and arguably suspicious, depending on which one of them sees it. So with that, this basically was just saying, well, get out now if you can. Like, there isn't too much to be accomplished, and it must be here. And it was around that point where it became clear that somebody from the said adventuring group, way back in the first campaign of this setting, arrived with someone that Sujin specifically recognized. This led to what Olsir began to realize was a little bit of more battle theater than really fighting at this part. As he one of them transformed into a large fiend, identified as, basically an experiment on himself to try to become something different. And with that, all of you left. And to the outside went to the offing to what was left of the remnants of the military camp. Sujin rushed ahead with Ryza and Jara, but Olsir actually really knew where to go because he was familiar with the military structure in camp, and spoke to the highest ranking official, basically being one of, if not the sole survivor of the meteors that kind of hit the military company, and having to deal with that. Since the fiend that one of the Mercurius turned into was taller than the city walls, there was sort of a visual sense of what was going on, or a need to tell when things were changing. The battle was under 2 minutes long, and by the time you were leaving, it was already mostly done. And shortly after that, it became more an effort of reconstruction. The rest of you kind of went to the camp, aside from Johnny, who you eventually realized just went back to Orville. And
JTDK, baby.
And a large bit of it was just sort of reconstruction. Me having to RP a Joe character means that that Lily was largely disinterested and more trying to focus on what not to tell you when giving some information than actually what to say, but just managed to heal.
Sorry, no, I got you.
And managed to heal all the injuries that your characters have been accumulating for the last 2 months or so. Seeing as how Shohal and Jara have really never been away from injury since you guys were in Zollenberg, basically. So now actually completely healed for the first time. Otherwise, it was mostly Sujin remembering a core memory locked mostly to his suspicion due to intoxication, but not entirely.
Lost in the sauce, just from a couple years.
You know.
And after maybe a day or so of less than a day, but close to a day of recovery, going back and forth, attempting to die down the flames, remove the rubble, kind of help along with that, it became clear that this was an effort or reconstruction that would probably take weeks. And after the initial rescue or the dying down of the fires, we all decided to go back. On the trip back was mostly uneventful, basically knowing that the thing that you did at the disruption of the ritual you did at the burial site was successful. The majority, if not all, the zombies were all down. It was very quiet. On the way back, the only thing that really caught attention was that Jawa realized you were being spied on by a familiar fox, who ran away and eventually disappeared.
Get his ass!
Or did they?
After jumping and turning 180 degrees in midair and shooting a counter spell. The trip back to and oh yeah, Ulcir had an awkward dad conversation.
True.
Sujin, it's time to learn about the bird and the bee. Come sit next to Pop.
He didn't realize Sujin had shotgun hidden under his robes.
How dare you, old man?
Like that would stop me anyway.
That's true, actually. He's the goddamn juggernaut.
So, when you came back, there wasn't really too much of an interaction aside from getting paid a lot and, an acknowledgement from Johnny that, everything was completed. He was writing a letter to House Kandar basically indicating that what they had been giving money for had been completed. There was a small attack that happened in the town that kind of was the reason why Valaris and more people were out in the open. But otherwise, it was just a matter of, can we get out now?
Can we leave,
Can
please?
we leave this place?
This is scary.
Please?
Like this anymore.
This is not a lot. This is not very
My
interesting.
beautiful homeland.
So, and that's largely where we left off.
Weren't we getting
We
on
did-
the ship, or the ship was coming?
So the idea was the ship was coming, and really it was just the final report packet to be handed. So let's start with. So as Valaris calls for the ship to get there, he will go to show him here. So here's the packet. This is what Dr. Levy had to add to the notes that you have kind of given. For the most part, he's indicated that we're kind of on the up and up, but he mentioned I should have more kind of reads from it. I need to have more protein in my diet, presumably not from red meats. I should have non-fatty fishes, poultry, and avocados. I don't think this area has avocados. I might be able to magic them up.
Will this region we're going to have all that any that requests?
We probably should have picked them up from Zalargo because we're going to pass it. It's also sort of not as frozen as where we are now, but Passage is still kind of a northern city, but there are markets there that may have them, so can check. And he had indicated that I need to spend more time with all of my limbs on doing things, and that I need to adjust to that. But largely most everything else is sort of a check mark indicating that things are what they should be. So in Passage, there are 3 signatures I am looking to get. One of them is from a member of a parliamentary body that would have been in Fairhaven originally, but since the capital was moved to Passage in the last 6 months or so, the body exists there. Person that is of a wealthier family, but not necessarily a noble family in Aranel, is somebody I know who is actually part of the legislature who I will need a signature from. I had originally meant to get one from Zolenberg when speaking on behalf of my account. However, I realized that I was in a deficit in order to do so. Actually don't have the amount of shards I need to get. I didn't have the amount of shards I need to get approval at that point. To be honest, I don't think I do now either. However, I have more than I did then, and I will speak to a Mr. Augustron to kind of go through those details. I may need a little bit of help in negotiation with him in order to validate that I can have what I don't have. But this is a high-ranking figure of House Kandaric. I would not be surprised if fancy words do not convince this man that I will have a thing I do not have yet. So I will need help with that. And I mentioned before that I was curious about going into the Arcanex, or at least checking that out. So it's been a while. I was planning on calling Delphin while we were on my telephone, while we were on the airship ride, which I had received a message will arrive in about 45-ish minutes.
Well, I can possibly help with the contract negotiations.
Yes, due to how Sujin worked when we were at the previous bank, I would like to have him here, but you and Vigis are typically the ones I go to if I need help kind of speaking out of the situation. I'm a little bit nervous about this one because it's become clear to me that getting shards is more dangerous than I anticipated. And I have asked a lot to have you be capable in order to do that, but I kind of imagined it would be maybe a little bit of a spooky cave, maybe a little bit of you have to do something here. It's not quite the Rakshasas guarding it, or it's more than I expected, and it's a bar I didn't think I would need. So the fact that you have done as much as you've done, shown as much as you have, but still aren't really able to get to the points of depth where we can find them, is making it clear to me that they're harder to find than I realized.
I see.
And that I may have asked more than I realized.
How many more do you need?
I was hoping to have at least 5 or 6 more by now, to be honest. But that's the thing. We could have gotten more, but in the lab they don't belong to us. So I didn't want to take them. And I was told that further in the mines there were many, but that was what was that called? A city without time? That didn't seem particularly safe. So those were our only real opportunities.
Well, if it continues at this rate, we may have to make a decision between sticking to our morals and getting the job done.
What do you mean?
That is a slippery slope that you're thinking.
Are you
I'm just-
suggesting that we steal or worse?
If the other option is ending up dead, I'd rather take them.
Do you think that the mine is at least under the control of the government now?
I can call Duffin. I was going to call him anyway to see if anything had happened. I have a hard time imagining that the police in Zollenberg would be willing to go that deep on their own. I imagine they would quarantine past the point where all of us kind of all agreed was too far. But who knows? We left the place because it appeared that there was cause and reason to believe that Breland would want to go deeper, or had an interest in the city. I don't really know if that has to do with the mines. That may be a question to ask. I don't know what he'd be willing to tell me, but unlike the first time I spoke to him, where I had no leverage or very little favor of which to gain from him, all of you had done something absolutely priceless for Zollenberg. So I imagine he'll be in better spirits to talk to us this time around.
Do you have any more leads where more shards might be? We can always keep trying at least.
There should be places on Undair. There's factories riddled in it. The other place where there are most likely to be lots of shards would of course be Moorland itself. But that we are not equipped to deal with an expedition of that nature.
What do you
Well, Moorland is basically magical radioactive waste. Pretty much every single one of you would be disfigured, poisoned, and be killed within 48 hours.
Jara's tail just droops.
Out of character, that's what we flew over, right? When we were fighting in Pirate Land.
Yes,
That was
Nice,
the
good
giant
catch.
fog smoke.
exactly. The pirate base was in a plateau over Moorland.
It's a good thing we didn't
Oh,
fall,
yeah.
team.
As if being in the sky wasn't going to be
So in roughly time, there will be kind of there'll be an airship landing. Same large airship will kind of go down as it's beginning, as it is now. What was it, like mid-morning? Because it's still very much light outside where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of a full royal red carpet like thing will kind of come down, and a familiar sight of Setzer kind of in the same sort of a little bit overly loose kind of jacket will be kind of like navigating it and be like,
maybe before the
Yeah.
ship gets all too ready. Actually, Ulster will be quick. He's gonna go talk to Balor.
yes. Oh no, she will be still very much around, kind of in the area, kind of attempting to. Really, her eyes are kind of been glowing most of the time, as if she is like divining or soul. Well, you would recognize it as like pretty much soul sight, pretty much active almost the entire time, as if she's expecting something or looking for something.
Seem to be looking for something. Pardon me for interrupting.
I think that the effort here is incomplete.
What do you?
I find that the effort here is a bit incomplete.
The effort.
You keep falling off a little bit, Keith.
Sorry, the effort.
Yes, it seems like in the effort to find us and to know that you're here, to poke at this village,
Guys,
I
hello.
know I will need to leave. The
I'm muted.
attention is odd, and I don't really know, but I have a feeling that there will be more.
I'm muted to them, but I can see you guys. Thanks for the raid, Visible Boom Michael.
Where will you go?
Good to see you guys, a whole herd of cats. Quark, Kiarda, how are you? Thanks for the raid messages. Hi, friends. Welcome to D&D.
But at this point,
I can't talk much, but I will talk with you.
While they are looking for me,
I missed you. How you doing, Michael? How are things? What you playing nowadays? It's been too long. I gotta stop in the stream sometime.
I don't think Morris needs an army anymore. He's beyond the point of where he is looking for that. I think he is now looking for people to support him. He has I don't know if this is the work of Crane, but I'm beginning to believe that he is looking for people, for sources, additional sources of magic. He's looking for people to replace the research of what I had put in before. And now, instead of simply looking for us, he's finding other people that have resources to find information that I might have to do what he is looking for.
I talked with the man you told me to, and I gave him my request.
He seems different after speaking to you. I'm afraid of a man like that a little bit. This is exactly the type of person that Lance ran away from in order to find security in a man like Morris. I do not trust his intent. However, as long as you know that, you cannot let him go too deep. There may be something you can still get from him.
Laura, I don't know how this is going to end.
You have the same feeling I do, that it needs to end. And while I'd prefer to be happy and alive at the end of it, that is not the priority. That is extra.
Don't be a stranger. Keep in touch. Let me know if we're in danger.
I will let you know. And do not devalue yourself either. You had even more to worry from than I did. We are not done with this until we are done. And neither you or I are allowed to die until we finish this.
You are correct. There's one thing I must do, and I will get it done.
She will give you a nod.
And he's gonna hug.
She'll give a hug. It's a soft one.
Thank you. If we don't see each other again, for everything.
Jar's mouth is slightly agape because he's never seen Ulcir hug somebody before.
Also
take
fires
a
a
deep-
laser from his eye.
She'll take a deep breath. It was a comfort seeing you again. I will let you know when I'm close. I'm beginning to think that it would be better to hide amongst hide and be amongst the cities than out in the wilderness. I don't know how bold he's willing to be, but
He'll only get bolder. But you take care of yourself.
likewise.
Elsier will about face and go back with the.
All right. So, is there anything that anyone else is looking to do, or is it now time to be in the airship?
I just imagine that we're all like waiting around,
Right.
Like Olseer is the last one on with like the wind blowing kind of a deal.
Like
Yeah.
it's like the crew loading screen, like we're all just kind of like lounging about in an area.
Elsier presses E to get onto the airship.
I am gonna grab a quick drink before we hop into anything. I'll be right back.
All right.
Ship lands. 20 enemies roll out. No.
No.
Oh,
Stop that. I hear that
20
still. Wait.
vampires.
20
20 vampires.
Sujins roll out.
Oh, Sujin!
True. If I had more than one Sujin token, you might be fighting Sujin. So, the lounge of the airship is very large. There is an onboard casino. Kind of before, it was very much like a, seats against the side and back, lots of tables and things going on. So, it is at that point where one of the larger tables, Valaris will kind of open up his briefcase and we'll pull out this like 2-foot tall telephone with like a wire kind of connecting to an earpiece. It looks kind of shoddy. There's just like a motherboard and things kind of around and buttons he's got to kind of do it, but this
Definitely
is
a firehead.
oh, absolutely, and it will be known to you guys because Setzer will kind of, when he knows you, like this will be about an 8-hour trip this time around. We'll be back. It'll be about sunset when you guys get off where you're going, and yeah, enjoy the ride. It might be a little bumpier than average because we're not going through desert anymore here.
Last time our ride was like 24 hours?
Yeah, it was much longer because you went from Zilargo to Karnath, and the two countries are practically bordering each other.
Okay.
So much faster flight.
As we're flying, Jara's just looking around the airship, fascinated as always.
And he's like, everyone come around. I'm going to call Delphin. And if you have any weird thing you want to ask for, because he's a spy master, I'm sure he's more likely to be receptive since you saved the city.
oh, okay.
It's a good opportunity to get anything you want and see.
Oh.
And he'll call Delphin, and initially it'll be like, I'm like, oh yeah, no, the reception. And he will cast minor illusion to basically turn the sound into the sound minus the static. I'd be like, there we go, clear sound. Don't forget to do that on your side, Delphin, or else you will not be able to hear a single word that comes out of my mouth or anyone else's. And kind of speakerphone-ish will be like, oh, hello. Welcome, friend. You're lucky that I am from the side of Aranel as well, and I have a telephone. Indeed. Very rare. There's less than 20 of these in the entire world. I hope you know.
What is what does he call it?
It's amazing. I can't even tell you how it works. I'm not smart enough to go over the details. Valaris, you will have to explain it to them of some kind. Maybe your known friend might also know how to do it, but it's extremely rare. Very few of them in the entire world. Even Sujin's family doesn't have one, and they have practically everything.
Olseer rubs his temple.
It's powered on this
He's getting it.
electricity, right?
Sujin looks unimpressed.
Well, it is not a polished product. This is very much still new technology. If you could buy it, I'm sure they would have already had one.
Jara almost pokes Ulster in the eye with his horns as he tilts his head.
So, yes.
Are you looking to mass produce these?
Oh, no, dear, not yet. As it is, it takes magic in addition to it to even get it to work properly. So, in time, but you got to be careful. This is sort of. I'm going to speak on behalf of the laws here. This is still very much an Aranel thing. I don't want it mass produced in Corvair. We really don't want it to be only in the humans' hands, really. Sorry to say. Dolores is just like sinking in his seat a little bit in response to that. He's like, "Yeah, really, we don't want that to happen. So please don't try to do it."
Racism.
Well, we can't trust you, youngins. So, but why are you calling me? What can I do for you? And by the way, thank you again, all of you, for saving Zolenberg. I know there's nobody to officially give you the proper praise, and I believe none of you wanted the attention of that being the case, but still, what can I do for you?
Hello, I'm Jara. I like airships.
Airships, you say? Well, I am more of an information broker. I don't have airships to give away, but if there's any information about where to acquire said airship that you were looking for, I can help with that.
Oh.
You might want to ask if there's any way you can get it on the cheap. He says to Jar.
Yes, I don't have a lot of gold. Is there anything that I could get in my price range? And you can tell he's uncomfortable. He's never done this before.
You did recently get a bit of an infusion.
Oh, that is true.
Well, based on me tracking your movements, where you were before, Oskalor probably would have been the best place to really go and do it, because there's a lot of House Leander, House Kenneth old factories and piles of straw parts, not junk, scrap kind of a deal of airship parts due to manufacturing and such going on there. So that would probably be the best place to go if you're looking to get them for relatively cheap. But they don't really make a ton of small, cheap private jets. So it's sort of the idea of getting something that's smaller than probably the cheapest you could get would be some sort of like old war era like cargo liner would probably be the cheapest you could find, and they would be there. Cheap is still not easy. You're probably still spending several thousand for sure, but that would be, and getting one that may not work and then being able to fix it fully would probably be the best way to go about it if you're looking to not spend too much out of it.
Thousands in gold or platinum?
Gold. No, it would still probably be in the 15 to 20,000 area, but for an airship, that's extremely reasonable. Like the ones you're flying on, the one flying at Setsu is probably several 100,000. So this is very different.
And you could tell that Jara was like super excited and was going to be like, "Let's go to." Oh.
It's still very reasonable, but it would take a bit. It would take a bit. But
I think you can probably do without some of the casino stuff. That might drop the price a little bit.
You are right. Well, thank you for your information.
Hell, of course. Well, I'll do more and extra for you because you're the one who I literally saw make the Rakshasa go bye-bye. So, that's... I will go through at least a little bit of effort to specifically secure sources if that's something you're interested in, because while every one of you showed a surprising degree of actual, adventurer bravery, which you will no doubt surprises me out of you, Valaris. I kind of expected when you said I was adventuring that you punched below your weight, were very rich and did like 3 missions, but the fact that you're willing to throw yourself, potentially your life, when I know you have prepared spells to word of recall back to Aradel the moment you're in true danger, was actually impressive surprise. So, yeah, no. Well, all of you did a lot, but I have to say, Jara, you were the one who actually made our enemy our immortal enemy disappear.
Happy to help.
So about that shit. No, I'm just
And you could tell he's uncomfortable with, like, the fame, so he kind of shrinks away.
So, no, that's why I've kept it as information for me. To be honest, it's a lot. House Fiolan, in a way, would prefer it that way, but at the same time, in my own opinion, I always feel slightly bad to know that there is no recognition for what you have done,
Oh,
and
no.
you did quite a lot.
Believe me, there is recognition.
How many people are going to know to thank you? Maybe you don't want to be thanked, so I respect that, but...
He kind of just gives, like, a little smile and just puts a hand up and shakes his head, and he goes, It's fine, truly.
Yeah. I suppose, as a person who's good at keeping secrets and is very well aware of the moral ambiguity of war and spies and things, very few things make me feel good than there's some asshole who's going to do something terrible and we just are better off stopping it. So, I don't know, mildly invigorating to have come across a situation where it's not at all ambiguous. We know who the enemy is, and we know that pretty much everyone is better off with them being stopped. Usually, most of the things in my line of work are rarely so simple.
I can understand that, but rest assured that I am grateful for your help, and I will keep saving my gold so I can find something that's worth piloting.
So, but also, unless you have anything, the rest of your crew seems to have no use of information.
I actually did have something I'd like to ask, but perhaps later.
He has a telephone. I can be called at any time. I might not answer at every point in time, but he can call me at any time.
And Jara will note that down.
Valaris will kind of go through his pockets and pull out a black business card. So there was something I kind of wanted to ask about. We did make it to Shavala's lab, and there were many things that we kind of learned out of it. But the first thing I would like to bring up is that there was a black business card out of someone I recognized from Aranel that had a mercenary carting around people from the sworn cabal that were looking for this place. Oh. And I kind of wanted to know, what was it? What was the name of that? What was it the name of the mattress firm? Do any of you remember what that was called?
out of character. Sujin absolutely would remember.
Sit and sleep?
I do not. God damn it.
Mattress King.
Let me go back.
I thought you had it on you, or someone did.
Yes, but it's just. This was how many sessions ago was this actually?
This was
Can
many.
I roll an intelligence? Or is it just based on? Wait, Davey, do you know?
Yeah, no, we're both searching.
Oh, I am actually looking this up because I'm like, oh dear goodness, I kind of forgot what this was called. Patchwork.
We finally had a moment.
Mattress.
Wait, let me see if it's on my character sheet because I thought I put it down.
Oh, good point. Hold on, let me check my notes.
Raymore and Flanagan. I don't.
It's a
You pulled out
Sealy.
a black business card obtained from the coast of Lake Gallifrey.
So no, this would be like session like.
Black business card.
Check from October 19th. No.
Oh no.
Wait.
Oh no, this is way early. This would be back in freaking July.
June or July.
One Arcanist Black business
Oh,
card.
Pendra Interior Mattress Financing.
Pendra, yes, thank you, Pendra Interior Mattress Firm. Like, Valaris is like, I kind of know what that is. Pendra is somebody I recognize from Aranel, relatively wealthy individual, not a noble, and somebody connected to the Soulsworn Cabal had this. Why? How? What do you know about this? And what can you tell me about this? Oh, okay. So, I think I can help you with this. Because one, you already gave me information I didn't have. Because, I kind of considered warring religious genocide sects in Karnath and money laundering and undead to be two completely different categories of things to keep track of. So, So out of the wonderful mattress firm, which is Aranel's, offshore account of where rich people don't want to pay taxes to House Kadaric or interest rates, what's going on there might be somebody in the Arctic. The Arcanix is home of a lot of Undead's, wealthy secret societies and such that like to do this. There might be a connection to them. And what I'm beginning to think this might be connected to is, and he kind of, there's a pause a little bit from Nelfin. He's like, yeah, no, the last place I kept in mind because, well, I didn't know if you would find this valuable, but I actually spotted the location of a man named Albertus Crane. And he was in Sean.
Albertus Crane.
The Black Wizard.
Does Jara know that name?
I believe Ulcir is the only one that knows it.
Ulcir, I'm guessing, is holding the railing of one of the chairs, and he grips it.
Does
And
the
you can
railing
hear
snap?
the wood splintering.
Oh no.
So, what he's doing, and this was interesting because apparently this man attended the gala in Sean. Typically for the super elite, hyper rich. So I don't know very much about the Black Bishop, but he was invited to one of the most elusive parties monthly to happen in Sean, which struck me as a tad odd. This is kind of reaching the borders of my knowledge because it intersects here, but if they're connecting to what's happening in Undead, you might want to speak to the head of House Fiolin there, and I can give them a poke or a nudge of variety to say that you may be on your way to get information. Her name
I
is...
would appreciate that.
Her name is Mithlander. She is not... she's an elf. Wood elf, but she's a spire elf, which is different from either myself or Valaris. She is very well aware of the information that's going on there, but if anything is going on there with the Cabal, then it very likely has a connection to why he was at the party. I'm still in the point of trying to figure out, because acting in Zolenberg means that Sean is in my field of vision of what I do. However, there, of course, House Fiolin has its own sect in Sean to pay attention to its own intrigues, as more happens in Sean than half the nations individually worth keeping track of. So I would be remiss if I had the opportunity to give you all the information and intrigue from inside Sean. But when somebody like that appears in a place like where he is, raises eyebrows all around. And it isn't even entirely clear yet who invited him. But I assure you, if you ask me that question in a week, I should hopefully have an answer for you.
Perhaps I will get back to you in that week. And
On the
if you
dot.
want to know as much as possible, I'm sure I'll get him to talk before I wring his neck. And Olsir is going to just snap the thing off of the table. Or the chair.
Jara just
Accidentally.
jumps.
But, like, it just goes, yeah.
Just like an anger twitch, breaking it.
Yeah, like, yeah.
And do you think, and if this is the case, you see it's safe to go to the Arcanix and check? And I'm like, the Arcanix is, well, should be safe for you to go. As long as you don't believe being connected to House Kenneth is too much of a security risk for you to go. But you actually have a friend inside this Mosaic committee there, and several of you, I believe, have been there before. Though I'm unsure if you would want to go because, well, they have security. They have a security that record if you've been there before. So I'm pretty sure someone like Sujin wouldn't want them going, "Hello, here's a repeat visitor from however many years it's been since you've shown up."
Sujin doesn't react, but he just kind of like they're inside the ship now. There's no it is daylight. The light is probably coming through. He's still wearing his veil.
Yeah,
He doesn't like react to that.
but no, it would be safe for you to go, but yes, if you're willing to go. And that may be the only way for you to get inside information, because you know the man involved with the firm. You know people in the Arcanix. I will tell you there is no discernible difference to going there that would make it unsafe other than your connection to House Kenneth. Otherwise, it's not a wildly different place. But Passage is very different than how many of you have remembered going there. Ever since it's become the new capital, the amount of security and people involved with it has changed dramatically. This may be the place you should be the most careful, Valaris, in terms of flaunting who you are or, House Kenneth connections. Queen Arala would probably, if any one of her people find you, they'll probably just try to scoop you up and incarcerate you forever. So be careful with that.
Oh.
And the no adventuring law in Breland does extend to Undair. Remember, it is the Queen's capital that was destroyed. So there is a lot of tension associated with the events that have happened in recent. Again, if, I will allow to reveal that you are the people who prevented another ritual like that from happening in Zolenberg, you might have had a different reception, but again, I understand. This is a group that seems to value its privacy and secrecy.
Sujin turns his head slowly to Vigis.
Really? Really? None of you want anything? Me? Well, I was actually kind of bored. I was expecting more interesting questions to come out of you. Since you bothered to tell me.
I would like to be excused, please.
Yes, no, you can.
I'm done with dinner.
Do we even have food?
No.
You
did not get food yet, and it will technically be lunchtime.
The next game
Oh,
loading
there's
screen is just Olsir going,
Right on and coconut shrimp and massive quantities.
Well, Olsir is going to put the broken chair leg, or not leg, arm, on the table and
Honestly, I figure I could just send you a message. Didn't really need a telephone call.
Well, yes, but the beauty of the telephone is that I can say more than 25 words, but it is not as secret. You can hear what I'm saying, and other people can too.
Does the name Mercurius sound familiar to you?
Mercurius.
He likely goes by other names, but it's just a thought.
So, in a modern sense, not too much, but that is a name that goes very far back. That is, you might not know this, but House Fiolin is actually the name of one of the old families of Aranel. The Dragon Mark House is the first to be formed, and ours was formed in the history of the formation of Aranel. Mercurius is a name kind of dawns from an ancient alchemist. We aided in our inception. Our group aided a group known as slaves, known to the Cabalran. Mercurius was the name of one of those figures. He was arguably one of the first 5 to 7 vampires ever formed.
Char is just staring now.
And I have known him as more of a mythical creature of whom our ancient books and knowledge kind of tell about, because the Cabalran has all but been destroyed. So I believe Valaris probably knows more of that story than I do, because I've been very entrenched in Corvair, but I do have some knowledge of it because, of course, Fiolin needs to be aware of its origins, and its origins stem back from Zendrek. But is it somebody evoking that name, or
Maybe.
oh, maybe means maybe not? Okay, so you're telling me. So was this figure an elf? Was this figure a vampire?
Sujin is silent and like
Jara is looking at Sujin. Like,
What would it mean if they were?
Well, so is there context to what about Mercurius? Because I'm curious to this has anything to do with any of the other things that you have been doing.
I just wanted to know if you recognize the name, and you did answer that for me.
Yes, no, I do recognize the name.
That's honestly all I wanted to know.
If you have follow-up questions, feel free to ask. I feel like if you're asking this question, that must mean there is a lot going on, but I respect your secrecy of not wanting to give that information to a spy master. That is very practical thinking on your part, to not want to divulge too much. But I am willing to. This is the sort of thing where, by answering your questions, I probably get information of greater value than I'm giving you. So, this will never be a trade. If you have these questions, I will answer them.
Sujin nods, even though it's over the phone and Delphin can't see him. He actually walks away from the group and probably sits on like one of the tables, like surrounding, and just like sits down and kind of stretches to attempt to relax.
Okay, so hey, Showhall, you remember you asking me a lot of questions I didn't feel comfortable answering the first time? You have more do you have them? Because I'm now more comfortable to answer them, if you have them.
I actually don't remember out of character. I don't remember what questions I asked.
Mostly about your parents, largely.
Oh yeah. How did my parents die?
Oh, yeah, no, I forgot. That's actually exactly what your questions were. So, I now trust you well enough to give you some of this, but I had to make sure you kind of knew this because I am familiar with Valaris's proposal, so you guys will eventually end up going back to Sean. I kind of created a forgery of your letter and gave you back the real part of your letter that you were not given. You see, there was a cover-up by the strategic circuit on what happened. Your parents might have been involved with Liberty's Edge. But they were not fighters.
Why? I mean, in what manner? I was always told that they were killed. I was always told they were killed by Liberty's Edge. Why would they work for such bloodthirsty murderers?
Well, to my knowledge, they still were, but it was more complicated than that. As you might be aware, part of the conflict that is going on in Sean is connected to what has been going on. The heroes of House Kenneth, the adventuring party that kind of inadvertently destroyed Fairhaven and did all this, they were responsible for a very large amount of scandals and various briberies, witness tampering, blackmail, all sorts of things. And in the list of digging up everything that happened wrong, they also uncovered other forms of it's a lot to go into. There's a file I could provide. It'd be difficult to go over all the details on the phone, but the point is that it was not entirely clear, and there were several people on the inside that whistled a severe amount that ended up creating the group. So what role they actually played is hard to tell because they were both tracked in working for people in the legislative body of Breland, acting in Sean, and simultaneously sympathetic due to an insider league for Liberty's Edge. So it's a lot. So
they've been
but
double agents.
Maybe triple agents, to be honest. I'm still kind of mulling over the details, but the idea is that they were still only doctors in the end. Information would be the closest thing they've done to a crime. They've raised no sword or gun to anyone or pulled no trigger. They've hurt nobody, as far as I know. But if you're going to go to Sean, be aware that you are a link to this, and they will absolutely consider it. So if you were pinpointed out by somebody in that organization, it was no coincidence. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they knew exactly who they wanted to track. And it is very possible that if divination is the point, they have manners of ways to track you based on, the items in your house and charm. So be expected to note that they will probably always be able to know roughly if not your exact location. So if you have a manner of which to hide yourself from divination, I would make that a top priority in passage. Because sooner or later, that will become important. Because of either you, or potentially because of Valaris, maybe even because of Ulcia, and possibly because of Sujin. And all I can say is that all of you have something they want individually. So it might not be.
Actually...
Oh no, this is not Liberty's Edge I'm concerned about for you. It is the Hands of Gestalt. It is the high tactical ward of the Breland Crown that I'm concerned with for your safety. Liberty's Edge is small. and focused all of their energy in Shaman. They're putting a fight there, but they are not the ones tracking. It is the Breland crown that I would worry about if I were you.
Very well.
So I can give you more information, but allow me to do so in a different way. This might be one of those Sujin is right, sending is better sorts of things. So I will go over and do that for more information. I needed to make sure that I could trust you having this information, because this is one of those, if House Fiolan gets too deep into it, that is a little bit problematic. So yeah, allow me to give that to you.
All right. Thank you.
I don't know. Who else is standing by there? I don't actually know. I'm on a telephone. I can't see anything.
Is Vigis there too? Or who? I mean, is only Ulcir and Sujin not around anymore?
One sec, I'm struggling with my mic. Hold on.
Vigis is just tapping the telephone and like, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Excuse me.
Vigis, can you hear me?
Is this on?
Vigis, it's breaking up. Are you,
Newfangled technology don't work.
are you going through a tunnel? I can't hear you. Oh, wait,
Sky.
we're in an airship. Are you going through clouds? Is there a thunderstorm?
I don't know. I'm in the same room as everybody else.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, I think.
All right. That should. All right. What was your host question?
Well, Shoho asked about his dead parents, and I gave him a lot of information. Maybe he probably was happier with you not hearing all of it. I don't know. Maybe he'll tell you if you're curious.
Oh.
You always seemed to be, well, aside from being, a bard enthusiast. Well, you're not a bard enthusiast. You're a bard, and good one. Obviously, I didn't know you were in the middle of the bands. So good job with that. But I don't know. You've seemed to have most of your trauma behind you already. The whole having to run away from Carnath, Fairhaven thing going on. But is there really anything you want to know?
I mean, I've been struggling with like what happens after we die, and I'm still really scared of it, but I've been convinced that maybe my old friends aren't really good people.
And Jara's just like staring into your soul.
So existential for Delphin?
I was about to say, if you're looking for some sort of necromancy answer, then
Whoa!
good old Dolores knows where is it? Dresden. He is the guy who knows the right to the undying ports and all that fun stuff. Wasn't that
Okay.
Wasn't
But,
that
like-
what? Oh yes. Sorry, continue.
But like, I mean, that's cool and all. I'm super interested, but like, is that okay? Like,
Well-
give me the vibe. What's the vibe in the world
I'm gonna need a vibe check.
on necromancy?
Let me. Well,
Chara's
yeah,
just
in
staring.
all Elven society, it's just fine. We draw light from the endless day in which our people are ruled by a council of ever non-dying creatures that you would refer to as almost like liches, but they're not exactly, called the Undying Court. So undead, all very tolerant. Which is probably why Sujin was allowed to be in Valinor. Honestly, to be perfectly honest, just because there was a mostly elven nation that split off from Aranel, so we're extremely tolerant and actually accepting of sentient living undead, and thus being and doing what we do to kind of keep life and kind of keep transference of information and such is actually not at all taboo here. Unlike where you are, it's people are terrified of it, but it depends on how you use it. Like the origins of our necromancy, I believe, come from the Cabalran, who also used it to enact vengeance on slave masters. So I view it more or less as a tool.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that as long as I start my own necromancer
Vidrus,
cult,
no.
I think it's okay.
Vidrus, please.
Yes, though cult.
It's just my friends
No.
from college that were the wrong ones.
No, Vidrus, it's not it, Vidrus, please.
Well, cult is a very. The thing about it is you need to take energy from someone to do it. Actually, I don't know. You're getting beyond. If you're getting into magical technicals, and I'm like, I don't know. You probably know this better than I do at this point.
Okay.
But, well, I think you're fine to start one. just don't,
No!
just don't kill other people or make them kill themselves, and I think everything will be just fine.
Got it. No further questions.
No! God, no. Jar is just pulling the skin on his face down with his hands.
Sujin is not moving across the room. He is stock still.
This is the villain origin story.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Leave that up.
Discuss a new cult name for Vigis.
Vanna's losing her shit in my chat right now.
I'm just looking for one person to tell me it's okay. That's all I need.
No.
Does it even matter who they are? You just ask a random person on the street, what do you think about necromancy and cults? You also want to live forever. I can help you.
Is this
I can help you with that.
is this like a condition that Vigis has? Like he just has to get validation from one other person, and he's like, "All right, I must be doing the right thing."
Yep.
Don't listen to the other five in the vicinity that say no.
The trusted friends that you have and cultivated. No,
You're not giving me the answer I want, though.
That is beautiful.
I love it.
So,
Vigis is just an undiagnosed sociopath.
Cult name. What was that one band name earlier?
Headless Hydras.
Well, you guys, that is your band name.
That is the band name.
Minor War Crimes could be your cult name.
Necromancy, parentheses, just if everyone else is okay with it, parentheses.
Only on willing victims, parentheses.
It's approved necromancy. That's what it is.
Verified.
The good kind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna generate a
We make you sign that you approved it. It's all legal.
Please, my
Exactly.
daughter. No problem, ma'am. All right, she's
I just
back.
need to sign this form, making sure that whatever I do is A-okay.
She might have a hunger for flesh. That's totally normal.
It happens to the best of us.
What you may think is weird is now normal, okay? You wanted her back.
Everything is fine.
Craved a specific type of hamburger from time to time.
Very rare.
A specific flavor of hamburger.
Yeah. The great kind of matter, you know?
Well, I am now becoming less comfortable with this phone call. You have anything else to ask me?
Didn't Valaris have to talk to him?
Yes, I actually wanted to ask you about what we experienced in the lab itself. And first of all, what do you actually know of Shivala? Because what I found in the lab was kind of telling, and I'm actually not entirely sure how much of it I want to let you know yet. Oh, well. That sensitive. Fair enough. Not very much, to be honest. She was very off the radar. She was basically an intern for Merrick's the Third and Sean before he went into self-imposed exile. She was prosecuted for creating Warforged, and honestly, the majority of what I know about her comes from the fact that one of her Warforged were part of an adventuring group that outed the heroes of House Kenneth for being, well, basically anything but heroes, effectively. I believe his name was Control. But yeah, that's mostly what I know. That's mostly what I know about her. She had a laboratory, and was clearly had her own, interests or something in mind. I have to believe that she had sources or something, and she was able to escape and develop such a thing so quickly. She's a member of the Chamber. Okay, you can ask me any question you want, and I will answer it now.
Hearing that from the side, can Surgeon roll to see if he recognizes that?
Yes.
The Chamber.
Well, if you hear it, you already know what it was because you were at the lab. Because this was the part that where Show Hall read that was in Draconic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind.
So, yeah. So it appears that she was an agent of, the Chamber, and her time in House Kenneth was basically just her spying on them to get information. Apparently the Chamber, somebody asked a question in the Chamber of, does the Conclave need to destroy Corvair? Oh. Now, do you know how hypothetical or not this question was? Because if it is... do you know if this question was hypothetical?
Is he asking that of all of us?
Well, basically anyone that is there, which I believe is just Vigis, Shohal, and actually Jara. Yeah, pretty much everyone except for Sujin and do you know if that was hypothetical?
I'm leaning towards no.
Oh. Well, that's curious. Perhaps the Mosaic Committee was right after all. This is downright terrifying.
From what we've seen, yes.
Well, there's a lot of hyperbolic, extremely overblown reactions that people have had due to the war. Hard to say, not surprising to say, when somebody has the ability to make an entire country disappear, everyone in the world notices that. And I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the dragons were over there in their continent, scratching their dragon heads and pondering, perhaps humanity has gone too far. Maybe we need to end them the same way we did the Titans. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure 25 years is outside any... Was it 29 years now? Is outside knee-jerk reaction, even for a race or a species as old as dragons. So I'd imagine you're safe, but terrifying that anyone was pondering that question. And among those that actually have the ability to do said thing, the dragons really could probably end all of the civilization on Corvair in one day if they really desired it. So, terrifying thought. Though I'd like to imagine this was some sort of, exaggerated thought experiment that would have gone a tad far, rather than something they were really thinking about doing. But you would know that better than me. There were a series of papers and things that she had that revealed information from House Kenneth. do you know if the if when she left, did she make copies of things or did she take the originals of things? Because Merrick's the Third went into a self-imposed exile. Do you know what evidence they were able to find in Sharn?
I don't think Jar knows what they were able to find in Sharn, but he does know that those notes, were they originals or were they copies? He would probably have known, right?
You're
They
gonna say
were-
they're originals.
Yeah, like he had no reason to believe that they were forgeries or anything.
They're originals, then. That is a powerful thing to have taken. But honestly, weirdly enough, probably better for House Kenneth. Because if Merrick's was caught with a piece of information on him, whatever those things you found, that might change the game and how things are perceived. But what was on these pieces of information from Merrick's?
At this point, would Jara realize what he's revealing?
Oh yeah, no. Jara, seeing this happened a few weeks ago, and it's the sort of thing that I think I would say would not require an intelligence check unless you're looking for something super specific.
Mhm.
But you guys also have access to the physical papers themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in Valaris's briefcase that he opened up in order to make this. So you can have access to exactly what they say. And Valaris himself is kind of like biting his lip on how to react to Delphin asking this question.
Ooh. I can't really ask the team here, can I? Because it would be... It's Jara's call now, I guess, to whether to say, they're right here, or we know the information, or no idea.
How do persuade and other chatting things work on the phone? If you can't see someone's face, you know if someone's.
Yeah, can I insight Valaris and see if he's nervous?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It will not be a very hard insight either.
Yeah, 17. So,
He is extremely nervous, and you can tell it's not just a matter of, like, there's a little bit of an internal conflict within him. It's not just a, oh, please don't say it, please don't say it. He is wondering if it should just be said anyway. You can tell there's a push and pull inside of him with this a bit. Like this, what this actually means.
okay. Jara will say, we actually have the original papers right here.
Absolutely astounding. Well, if, what do they say?
And he'll go over to the briefcase and kind of look at Valaris in the eyes and see his reaction.
He is like holding his breath, like a not even sure if he wants to stop you or try to. Like, he is frozen in his response.
And Jara will keep staring and just kind of give like a comforting little nod and look down and pull out the papers and then just start dictating them.
So there are three things that you have with you. It was already somewhat illustrated that Dr. Jabala's notes to the member of the chamber, which are in Draconic. But there are two others. One of which is detailing the time before the day of mourning, and basically the experiments leading up to thereof. And the other is regarding the being aware that, of Warforged intelligence and trying to still use them, of those two. So do you go through both of those?
Yeah, I think he's just going to lay it all out. Because he thinks it should be common knowledge.
I see. And House Civis held this secret. Curious. Well, I suppose not that curious after all. No wonder why all of them were together. The chamber had to wonder whether or not they did the right thing by forming the houses when this happened.
Either way, my interest here is in the truth.
Now, this is a level of which this is sensitive information. If this becomes public, they will completely do away with the Treaty of Thronehold, right?
Jara does not know anything about treaties.
The Treaty of Thronehold is what declared peace.
Jara just kind of drops his shoulders and he goes, if that is the cost of truth, then I don't know. I don't feel I'm the one to make these decisions, but I can't let this continue.
I will hold on to this for a moment. This is... You see, House Kenneth is already largely destroyed. So, they have had their accounts frozen. Most every single high-ranking member is in self-imposed exile. In terms of consequences for their actions, and of course, everyone in Metro where this happened died. So, all to say that, those that were involved didn't get what was coming to them. But peace was formed around the idea that this was an unforgivable mistake. If this was intended by any party, that is immediately shattered.
It also means that if it was intended, it could happen again, and we have to prevent it. We have to take steps to prevent it.
I believe House Kenneth, the only group of people capable of this. It's too much. I can't give you an answer now, but I'm going to figure out who else knows this. Because that's the real question. Because if this was sealed by House Civis, that means they knew this information.
Correct.
There are other people that know this other than those in House Kenneth.
And that is my fear. And that is why I needed you to know this.
It makes a lot more sense why Zavala had her agent. Why Zavala was an agent to figure that out. Giving this to the chamber certainly changes the perspective. Well, I will have a bit to go over. Now, you have the papers. Be careful with that. If anybody knows you have that and knows what that's worth, that will put you in a very precarious situation.
I understand. And he'll kind of look over at Valaris and kind of point at the briefcase and go, "Is that a safe place for these?"
It's as safe as a place as can be.
Well, Olsir can also hold them. And he kind of smiles at Olsir with the papers in his hands.
Olsir's not in the room anymore.
Oh shit! Olsir can also hold them, and he'll just grin.
A door closes behind.
Yeah, Olsir just teleports behind.
Well, thank you very much. I now have information I didn't think I would ever be in possession of to now run into the discussion of all this. But it's curious. To believe she had that level of information would imply to me that Merrick's never revealed that he was missing information of that caliber. Which makes sense. There'd be no sense for him to publicize that, or else searching for her would be too high of a priority. But this may make sense to why she was selectively prosecuted for a law meant to only target nations and, mass production for creating what might be 3 Warforged. He was trying to get his papers back.
I'm sure he's after them.
Well, Marek has more important things to worry about right now. He is currently in a self-imposed exile for what happened with the heroes of House Kenneth. But if this gets found, well, he will never be able to leave that self-imposed exile. And it is very likely that the formation of a Dragonmark House will all but be disbanded. It's only happened once in history prior, and that was when it was House Vol. But thank you for providing that surprising well of information. By the way, this whole thing, this is a connector to Mercurius, is it? Just curious. I'm trying to form a theory here.
I don't know, but I do want to point out something that you spoke about earlier about Kenneth falling apart. And he'll look at Valaris, and he'll be like, I don't see it happening with someone like him in charge.
Well, Valaris can probably tell you, but the reason he is now practically in charge is because everybody sharing the name Kenneth, everyone in the higher upper echelon of it, has either been incarcerated or ran away. Valaris basically took the keys to an empty house.
I see that, but in his care, he's only tried to redeem his house.
Yes, but an entire country disappeared. The magnitude of which that needs to be dealt with. Like, people don't even understand what that is.
I understand what you're saying, but Valaris had no hand in creating that. Did you, Valaris? And he'll kind of look at him.
I've only been a member of House Cannon for 2 years.
There you go.
No. Yes. But there. Oh dear. Shara, how old are you again?
I'm 35.
Oh, old enough that. Oh yeah, you may or may not be from around here. I kind of forget details. I don't really know anything about you, Jara, but yeah, the feelings around the last war. Yeah, no, they're not very rational.
I see.
And they, I don't imagine new management will be what they want with the information. sadly, the other side of the truth is that House Kenneth is in a very odd position of where its assets are and where they're going.
And
The
you can
sad
tell that Jara is a
reality-
little embarrassed because he feels like he's being ignorant of something now.
You see, giving this information is one, of course, good to the cautionary tale of what could possibly happen if we're not sure of what's going on or careless. But it's also a matter of which one of the scavengers wants to take the worst piece of information from the corpse.
Oh.
No. It's not hard to dictate, but peace was not. They didn't want to stop fighting because they agreed. They agreed to stop fighting because it was terrible. Undair still wants its capital city from Thrain. Breedlin still wants its land. Karnath still wants its land back. You see where I'm going with this? They're not. They're willing to fight more.
Jara realizes that he, the one who has not lived here nearly as long as anybody else, has just politically fucked the world.
So, I will say this. House Violan has been in the hands of information this sensitive before, and has done worse with it than I expect to do now. So, I am grateful to have it, but what we do with this information? Well, that's something. You may want to tell the rest of all your team is there, right? So they all know that you gave this information. So they should probably know that.
No, they all don't know.
Oh, you should probably tell them that.
Oh no.
Well,
It's probably better that he knows, because he can probably. It's better that he knows that he could probably act accordingly with this information. I mean, suppose the chamber is still around.
the chamber is very much still
Suppose it's-
around.
But let me rephrase that. Suppose the chamber are pretty far in their plans.
The chamber are the ones that actually powered up the group of adventurers to defeat Belshazzar. They are not ambiguous. They are ambiguous. No, this is. Yeah, no, there's a lot to unpack here. Well, I have a series of letters and reports I must write. I am now a very busy man. You have given me food for thought and a lot to go on. Thank you very much, Veloz, for calling. Holy, if I had to give you a gold figure for how much in value you have provided me in information, I would say somewhere between 100,000 gold and million is around what you have given me. So you can ask me whatever question you want for the rest of eternity, and I will probably give you an answer. You- you-
Oh my god.
Just in a cold sweat.
Oh my god,
You
I have
And-
nausea for Jara. I don't like it.
Jara, I don't know what to say here, but there's no way you give information like that and feel good after it. So congratulations. You are in the spy game.
Oh no.
You are officially House Violan. Good, thank you.
what?
Thank you, mate.
What? He's just shaking his head.
Jara has nausea.
He's not doing good.
All right. And Delphin will goodbye, everybody, and hang up the phone.
Charo walks away very fast.
Valaris puts his head on the table and is like, I don't know. I should have done that. I don't know. Maybe we should have. Maybe we shouldn't. This is. Oh God, I don't know.
Now what would have happened if we kept it to ourselves? I mean,
I don't know. I don't. I don't know.
What made you think it would? Let me ask you this. What made you have second thoughts of relaying it at all?
Well, for one, literally everything to do with House Kenneth. Can you imagine that I can accomplish literally anything under that name with that information out? There would be zero trust for the name forever. And maybe that's for the best, but no, my proposal, if that's public, is dead forever. It's just can't happen because like House Kenneth will go from what it is now to being completely evaporated. And two,
practically evaporated anyway, isn't it?
But that's the thing that made me feel so bad about it.
that was
so
really
selfish.
fucked up.
That was
We
so-
practically broke, right?
Your plans are done.
But that's the thing. That's why I didn't stop him because there's truth to that. Like whether or not I know what's going on enough to determine the future of politics for an entire continent enough, there is a genuine, legitimate concern to the truth should be known about something so important. So I didn't have the desire to reach out because I thought anything I wanted out of it was selfish. Like, well, how could I want what I want in the face of this? This is clearly more important. So even if I this humongous pit in my stomach, I can't stop Jaro from doing it. That would be irresponsible. That'd be selfish. It'd be terrible. He needed to be able to do it. But oh my god, it's so terrible. I'm like, if it's public, I'm done for there. Like that is the end of it. There's zero chance of recovering from that.
Well, I mean, I know the. Well, is he a blabbermouth? Will he just like spit it on the paper tomorrow morning?
He's a spy master. Who knows who he'll tell or not tell? He may keep it forever locked in a book for all eternity, or maybe he'll tell everyone in his house. I don't know.
Just a memo. Hey, by the way, guys.
So, yeah.
Well, you mentioned asking about Shavala. I mean, do you think we can get any more information about that with control?
I guess I should have asked where he was or they were. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I'm going to need a moment before I call Delphin again. That was a bit much for me at the moment.
The telephone has to cool down. It gets really hot fast.
Very hot.
That's true. It is very old, so it is practically burned to the touch, and there's like exposed wires and things.
Probably gives off gamma ray.
Yeah, no, you may or may not get cancer if you make more than 3 phone calls in a year. Oh my goodness gracious, that's
Well, I'll go prepare tea. I'll calm your nerves. That's not good for your.
Yeah, no, my blood pressure's probably a little bit high, Showhole, right now. If you could prepare me something normally, Sujin prepares tea, but if you could do that, that would be great.
Shohan will nod and he'll prepare some tea.
All right. I somewhat thought out of the character this would happen, but I didn't know who would be the one to do it. I kind of imagined it would be Sujin who gives this information, to be honest, but I didn't know.
Not me divulging nuclear secrets. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I kind of imagined it would be Sujin the one doing it, but I am.
Whatever you do, Zara, don't give away the nuclear code.
Oh, right.
This is your conscience. This is not the real Ulster.
Well, Jara has 2 conversations to have, or 1 if we're feeling like, beating the shit out of them at the same time.
Where do you think you're going?
That's amazing. Let's just do another world war.
Yeah. Let's just kick it
that's
off.
where this campaign will end.
Or
Let's solve
begin
everything.
again.
I'm so happy to be here for this.
I made Jara would just be the most sincere, oh, if everybody knows this information, everything will be okay. It's just
That's how it works.
yeah.
How it
Trailing
works.
day, they got me. Everything will be okay.
Nobody wants to kill everybody, right? This is just a one-time thing, and everything is solved now.
Pretty sure every one of our primary antagonists wants to kill everything.
You're not wrong.
But Jara's a good guy.
He has good intentions.
Was the good.
Oh boy.
So, what happens after that phone call ends?
He
Jara's
just starts a cult.
no, bitches, no.
Yeah.
It's called, and
There
the
we
world
go.
is in a giant war.
I'm seeing
One
the
of those
pattern.
things is worse than the other. I don't know.
I don't know which.
Ulsir went to. Does this luxury airship have a gym?
Have a what?
Does it have a gym?
Yes.
Ulsir will be training in the gym.
I suppose Jara will
What's
go
Sujin
and...
doing?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Sujin was sitting on the other side of the ship, just chilling and relaxing and breathing for a moment.
So, sorry. What was Jara doing?
Jara went to go get air on the side balcony looking out. Hoping that the cool air will maybe take the nausea down.
No.
It's very nice, peaceful. If you want to be distracted, this is not a bad place to go.
He'll stay here for a little while. Yeah, kind of like that.
I love that Sujin and Ulsir are none the wiser to what has just
Yep.
transpired.
Yep.
I mean, Vin just seems cool enough with it.
Don't cult me.
It's not that big a deal. Oh gosh.
I don't know why
You know.
everybody's upset.
This is fun. We should do this every week.
Uh, well,
It's a largely uneventful flight, aside from whatever you guys want to do in it.
yeah, Jara is gonna go find either Sujin or Ulsir, or both of them, depending where everybody is.
Ulsir will be in the gym.
I was about to say, I think Sujin is easier to find, but Ulsir is too hard to find if you're looking for him.
No, he's
Yeah.
making loud sounds as he's hitting a training dummy with his halberd.
It's just like the background sound you're getting right now of Chips getting out of.
That's okay.
Sujin has probably found. I'm assuming that this ship would have the newspaper. Yeah, Sujin's probably pulled out the last 2 newspapers that they've missed, and is just sitting and reading it. Maybe with
Your secret sleep.
maybe with just his own cup, sipping
Mhm.
and reheating the blood as time passes. And just chilling, none the wiser on the edge of the ship.
Sujin, I have news.
Should we have this music on?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what?
100%.
Do what you will. I'm not changing.
Sujin has the newspaper over, like you see his hat up over the edge, but he just like with one finger like curls the edge of one page of newspaper, and he's like, "What's going on?" And then when he like sees you face to face, what is Jar's facial expression right now?
Very big, wide eyes and pale.
He'll immediately close the newspaper and set it down and be like, did something happen?
We should go someplace where there's not other people around and talk about this.
I'm sure we could find a place here. This is a big ship for very few people. I remember correctly, there was... Is there a lounge in here?
I don't know,
Like
but I
a
think
bar
there's a lovely
lounge?
balcony that we could go stand by that I was just at. It's fantastic. You'd love it.
Are you gonna jump off it by chance?
I imagine him being like, and here we go, and just like grab
Yeah,
Sujin's
exactly.
wrist.
Yeah, like, come on, let's go there right now.
Exactly how I imagined it.
Very like
Yeah.
unexpectedly, just like, okay. And follows you outside. Is why you look really upset. What happened? Weren't you guys just on a phone call with Delphin?
Yes. You see, well, no, it was very intentional.
You intentionally...
I intentionally divulged the secrets that we had found in the laboratory to the information broker.
Sujin was casually like leaning over, looking at you like on the edge, and all of a sudden he just stops like moving. And since he does not need to breathe, he is like stock still.
And also, Vigis and Shohal didn't stop me.
You told Delphin,
Yes.
the spy master.
Yes, don't get mad at me. I did it with good intentions.
Sujin, like, doesn't move for a solid 60 seconds, and then just turns and, like, leans his head down on the railing for a moment, and he's like, that's...
Sujin, if everybody knows, then nobody wants to, do this again and repeat it, right? That's just logical. If something terrible happens, then people wouldn't want to repeat it, and they wouldn't if they had the information about it, how it happened, because then they would be educated. And he's just, like, going on and on and on and just rambling.
Sujin doesn't stop him from rambling for a while. He just lets him go as he, like, slowly brings his head up from the railing. I know why you did it. I know you wouldn't do it with ill intent. But... And he kind of, like, looks up at the sky. This is one of the most complicated political issues our continent has faced before, and I know you didn't do it on purpose. Not in a negative way. And hopefully Delphin being a spy master will not use this for a gain of his own, and if he's smart enough, which he should be, he won't divulge it to those that will use it for ill will.
Well, that is somewhat of a relief then. And you can see he kind of like deflates.
It's likely not going to be a forever, though. It's... How long have you been in this realm? He kind of like asks, and like he's gesturing to like, he's pointing down like as if to the ground, but he's like, here?
How long have we been adventuring, Davy, in chronological time?
This is approaching 2.5 months.
Okay. And I imagine, like, where Jara was comfortable, and probably where he was staying when we started, because it was like tent town. Like, you were transient, you could come and go as anybody you pleased, so it was perfect for him. But I don't know how long specifically he would have been there, right? So, what would you say, like a year or two? Definitely not long enough to know socio-political anything, really, especially where we started.
I was thinking somewhere in the 3 to 6 month area.
Right.
You and Digis both were like, you were mildly recognized for what you do, but Jara less so, just because you masked the many faces to be one of several people. So
Right.
You were rarely super consistent, but you were there for, I'd say, both of you, at least enough time to be recognized as, oh yeah, you're you. You can do things. Can you do this kind of a thing?
Mm-hmm. So he'll kind of go, I haven't seen a winter here yet, so maybe half a year, maybe more.
Where you came from, did you have... Well, that's a bit complicated. I apologize for asking. I know where you came from doesn't necessarily have good memories tied to it.
And he kind of like, you can see that there's a mental check where he's like trying to think if he wants to continue, and he actually pushes through it, and he goes, we didn't have anything like this. We had terrible magic and people who intended to use it. We didn't have anything like this.
Honestly, it's not entirely too dissimilar. People with ill will use this information for their gain. And it would destabilize an entire continent. But you're not wrong for saying it. It's just unfortunate that we have to hide some things. And he kind of like reaches his head up and rubs his temple for a moment. Hopefully, Delphin. Go ahead.
I understand that I didn't make things simple here, and that's why I needed to tell you. And honestly, I'm glad I told you first instead of Osir, because I think you would have seen me thrown off of this boat.
I think, based on the conversation earlier, Olsir wants to throw off a lot of things from this boat.
Fair.
This could make things a lot more complicated, but we'll just have to rely on hoping that Delphin is smart enough and not getting paid by the wrong people for that sort of information. Granted, I don't see how it would benefit him either way. A war is only beneficial in a few ways. And that's not ever for good people.
That is true. Well, and he kind of like shyly looks up, and he's just kind of like, thank you for listening and for calming me down. I was very scared.
I don't blame you for being scared. Just maybe in the future run the information by all of us in a group before letting it out.
Not a bad idea.
He'll nod and then he'll just lean over the railing again and put his forehead.
And Jara will just put a hand on his shoulder and then go back into the ship and head toward Ulcir.
Ulcir is in the gym still.
With his tank top on, sweating as he swings his halberd.
All of his armor's off. It's in a pile on the floor. He is just hitting aggressively. There are splinters and wood fragments all over the floor as he's gone through about 4 to 5 attack dummies at this point.
No, this is exactly how Jara wants to talk to him.
And while you're walking in, you also hear, that's another dummy.
Oh, the dummy shatters.
The dummy shat.
And Jara his tail just shoots up when it goes. Sorry if I'm interrupting anything.
He just looks at you, and he's about to like make another strike. What is it?
I had something I had to talk to you about.
I'm gonna perception. I don't want to add a character. I want to see even with talking to Sujin first how does Jara look?
Oh yeah. Jara is nervously clutching his ring of protection.
He got more rings of protection.
Yeah, he has a ring of evasion and a ring of protection, and he's kind of like circling them both with one hand on his fingers. He's very nervous.
What's wrong? And Ulcir's gonna drop his weapon to just get into he's just holding it like as a walking.
I've divulged all of the secrets we found in the lab to Delphin.
Why?
Because I figured if everybody knew how that incident happened and what led up to it, we can prevent more incidents like it.
And what made you believe that Delphin was the right person to solve that problem?
Because information is powerful. Sometimes more powerful than weapons. And that information is knowledge that can be used to prevent these things from happening again. He is a center of knowledge.
How do we know we can trust him?
And Jara, you could see that his shoulders kind of fall, and he just goes, we can't.
Knowledge is power, Dara. You are correct. And a soldier such as myself cannot be too consumed by how war started, but you do realize what is at stake.
I do.
Knowledge is power, but it does not know what power it will be. This could be very good, or it could be very bad. You're rolling a die. Do you want to take that chance?
We'll see. We've been taking a chance every time we've jumped into battle. How's this any different? We can hedge our bets, we can hold our information, and we can give it to the people that we deem it necessary, but in the end, that's still, in some way, a dice roll. Is it a safe risk?
Our battles do not involve millions. They do not involve the innocent. They don't involve people who want to never pick up a sword in their life.
Those that are dead are still innocent. Those that we have saved are still innocent. Alive or dead. In this case, the alive. We want to save them. At least I do.
Did you feel you were doing the right thing?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what I think.
I am sorry. I should have consulted you and Sujin first, as well as everybody else. But to my credit, Vijus and Shohal did not stop me. And you can see that he kind of grins a little bit.
Shohal is lost in his work, and Vijus is Vijus.
I know. I wonder if he's actually going to make that cult.
My point exactly. Actually, I wasn't there. Wait.
Yeah, no, he wasn't there for that.
It just brings it up in casual conversation. Oh, yes.
That's a very Vicious-like thing for you to do.
It was. And
I was
Jar will,
gone for 20 minutes.
Jar will go, yes, Vijus believes now that Delphin told him he can start his own necromancy cult, that is what he should do.
Ulthir is rubbing his forehead.
What a fucking day!
I feel like the latter is what made Ulthir more angry than the former.
They kind of feed into each other a little bit. You know, the guy who said that Vijus could make his own cult was the one we felt comfortable sharing this information with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gone for 20 minutes. And I... Never mind. Jara, you did what you felt was right. And what comes of it is what will come of it. So, I'll have a talk with Vijus later, but I'm not going to be your conscience on this one.
I understand. I really thought you should know.
I appreciate it. Will that be...
Yes. And Jaro will kind of bow and leave the room.
Not too far off, about 3 beats after you leave, you do hear another...
Don't worry, that one was about Vijus.
Well, I didn't want to divulge your personal information. I mean, I can. I just did divulge nuclear secrets, so you know what? By the way, Ulsir.
He comes back in the room. Wait, I forgot one thing.
Exactly. Hold on. Jar just tries to respect his privacy a little bit after the spy just outed him.
The thing about Ulsir is, like, he has a good intelligence, but he's not smart politically. And, I mean, to Ulsir, war equals bad, so that's basically where he's drawing the line. But also, we could have just had the briefcase stolen at any point.
That is true.
It's not like we're doing a very good job, like, protecting the information. It's in a briefcase.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, no, you're right. But
Yeah,
it is with a
really
powerful way.
You just have to open the briefcase after you take it, and you will have access to what's inside of it.
Right. It's a combination code. Is that a legendary briefcase? It's a probably common briefcase with a number pad on it. Yeah, the world most important documents are in the hands of a half robot man with a briefcase.
I think Ulsir would probably be like, I need to go talk to Valaris.
Now, to be fair, Valaris is probably only like a third robot.
my apologies, Valaris.
He's just
Yes,
missing the rest.
If you give me that if you give me that robot eye, I will then be 50% robot.
So, like, Ulthir is kind of like just binarying it. It's like, well, war's bad, but we also kind of we've been carrying these around. It's whatever happens, happens.
Fine. This is
Everything is
Fruit
good.
does quality work.
Back to sassy jazz casino music.
Oh,
Yes.
So
it's so anxiety-inducing now.
so now
Song that ends that starts the next one.
So Ojara is, hanging off of balconies and just like trying to get fresh air to still kind of calm himself down a little bit from this. You will see shortly. It's not quite sunset, but sort of behind the clouds, beginning to go down, more of a glary sky as you kind of can see down and look upon, approaching the city of Passage. This is a large city, and it is not on flat ground. It definitely kind of slants downward, like going down towards the level of the lake. So, and there's a large series of tall buildings. This is a city in heavy construction. It went from being a large city, but not, not really that large, based around a port town and a very large train station, to instead being a very large city, which a large number of buildings that have just been kind of recently being built around the fact that it is now the capital and now the place that holds the royal family of Undair.
Whew.
So in it, you'll see a large sprawling series of buildings and lots of heavy construction. There is a wall, a city past the wall, and a construction of a wall further out around it. There is a control tower based around a movement of airships. But in addition, in the new part of the city, there is also kind of a sort of a divining tower that you see that is also very tall, that just you even kind of blink along with it, as if it has acknowledged the presence of anyone that has gone within a certain sphere of it. Sort of the acknowledgement of a city disappeared about half a year ago due to stuff, and we want to make sure we're not missing that stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
And once it becomes clear, it's sort of more. You will notice there is sort of a communication between Setzer and someone kind of clearing a landing, like a very short range radio response, as they kind of lower into an area. All of you can kind of feel it being a little bit shaky and such, as he kind of prepares into a docking area. Yes.
Sorry, what would be a good analog city-wise for music?
This is definitely a metropolis. Like this is an 80 to 100,000 city. This is a capital city.
Cowboy Beavers.
Yes,
Wait,
that would be.
did anybody look at the pictures and notice the red text on one of them?
Wait, which picture?
Look in the.
Oh. Damn it, Jerry.
It's your cult headquarters.
It looks like a pretty good building.
Yeah, no, that's good.
It's promising.
Hey, that would be a good place.
Remember to tithe,
And, like-
everybody. This is what we're going for.
One thing that you will notice, Star, looking down upon it, is that there is not suspicious, but like a clear notice of a sense of like weather or magic kind of impacting the visibility, as if it is clearer here than you think it would be, based on how humid and it is around the lake. Like there would normally be kind of hazy, in that there is what appears to be an actual conscious effort to kind of remove that and kind of keep the skies relatively clear as you kind of go in.
Beautiful.
And I don't know if anybody else would actually be in the top deck or the balcony, but no, Jaro would definitely get a good view of this if he is up there, since he has been up in both fights fairly frequently.
He will be very happy to have witnessed this moment, and will just kind of drink it in.
And the area you are docking in is an area associated with like private jets and things like that, rather than like a commercial liner. Because while his ship is large enough that it is arguably large enough that it could probably carry a commercial sized flight if it were dedicated to do so, it's not really what it's for. So it's just ends up docking in a very large area dedicated to like private jets and things like that. And once it's cleared, landing and the unloading and the various like doors and things kind of latches open to kind of do it, you can see there is a mostly, if not entirely, seamless transition between leaving the airship and the airport itself. The airport and train station itself is massive, multi-story, and you could see that it connected into a large, almost like mall-like area, connecting from close to the harbor to like the mid-city. And you have effectively landed.
Perfect. Jaro will drink in the rest of that sunset and then head down and get ready to disembark.
You will see that, much like you, Polaris is also kind of very pale-faced about everything that happened. And he's just like, we're here. We're here, guys.
Valaris, I meant to, speak with you.
Yes.
I may have assumed a lot.
I myself did not know how to react in that situation. I cannot say for certain what you did was right or wrong. But the reason why I did not is because I knew a personal motivation for me to complete my proposal was a thing that made me want to stop you. And that is a deeply selfish cause to prevent that information from going out. I didn't have a clear thought in my mind, so I was frozen by the sheer thought of that going out.
I considered your intentions and the legacy that you're trying to build, and you've only expressed just an absolute, I don't know, a virtuosity that I've never seen. And I really thought that was too much for you to divulge, and I took it upon myself, and I'm sorry. And he starts to just keep going.
I understand. I didn't stop because I also could barely wrap my mind around that. And I knew I had a selfish thought in my mind for it. And that is why I couldn't see myself stopping you, because I couldn't articulate thoughts that suggested objectively whether or not it was right or wrong to do so. So, it's understood. What happens will happen. If it is for the best that this does end up becoming public in some way that makes me incapable of doing the thing I would like to do, then there may be reasons for why that is just simply the right thing to do. So, I am no fortune teller. I do not, or diviner. I have no way to be certain, and it makes me nervous to think about, but it does not mean it was the wrong thing to do.
In the future, I'll be more cognizant of your knowledge and your feelings, and I'm sorry.
It's not mine that I feel you need to be cognizant of. We were in the presence of others who seemed to be willing to have that information be divulged. I considered their silence to be as pressing as mine. They, I believe, didn't have the same fears associated that I did. So I imagined if they were silent, they must have agreed with your decision.
I agree.
Is Olsir around?
We landed, so it's very.
It's likely that we're all getting ready.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Olsir's gonna be like toweling off his head. Just freshly showered after breaking 15 target dummies. Probably. And he's gonna go behind Jar and just be like, "No one can blame you for following your heart and your conscience.
Your impulse decisions are part of the reason why Zollenberg is still a city. I cannot blame you for them.
You can only hope for the best. And after all, if it's not, it's just nuclear war."
You can tell that Jara did hear you, Olsir, but his face lights up, and it's not because he heard the term nuclear war. It's because for the first time in his life, he has people actually understanding his decisions and not criticizing him for them or saying that they're wrong. And you can tell he's never had that before, so he kind of just nods at you and shakes Valaris's hand really quick and then just starts kind of like running down the dock all excited. It's completely fucked up from third person point of view, but
Sometimes I worry. Olsir just looks at Valaris. Sometimes I just worry. By the way, you could take the share I ruined out of my paycheck.
That's okay. I can pay a little bit more for that one. Apparently, we have an infinite money quota of questions to ask Delphin now after that information was divulged. So I believe we probably made more money than we lost, technically.
It's all
As you
about
guys
money.
are talking, right up next to you walks up. It's a very young, teenage-looking Dollar Tree Sujin, carrying stuff. Because it's the evening now, right?
It is almost sunset. It is approaching. The sky is kind of like bright.
Oh, okay. He's still cast.
Yep.
Disguised self, but it is a young-looking Dollar Tree Sujin, like easily like 17, 18. And he's in like very casual, like street clothes.
What
that are
is
fancy.
Sujin's version of street clothes again?
Oh, he had to definitely make it like he's purposely trying to look a little more shoddy and not so fancy. And he just walks up in between you two and says, "I guess we get off now."
Yes,
Yes,
Susan, that's correct.
I had informed Setzer that the expectation is to be here for over a month. A lot of operations were a lot of what I'm looking to do before going to Sharon is happening here. And among those things are 3 signatures, and I'll pretty much boast in every place I need to go, be it the Arcanix or a small village up north of here, is along the coast of the Gallifrey Lake. So we will be spending most of the time before going to Sharon in kind of the vicinity around here. So I plan on ordering a suite, come with full kitchen and things, in a nicer hotel so that we can have a larger bit of time to ourselves should be needed.
What was the name of the hotel?
Galendra.
Oh, yeah. Do you know how to get there?
I believe I do, but I will take your lead. I am not as familiar with Passage, and I believe it is still Old Passage, so I imagine you will know it better than me.
Are we looking to get there by foot, or are we?
But we might be able to take a tram once we're off. I don't think it's very far from the train station.
I think because of everything happening, it's best that maybe I look like an assistant for you when we're out in public.
Yes. Thank you.
We should catch up to Jara. I want to make sure he hasn't told anyone else.
It is.
Jars in the bar,
So-
just casually like, so what do you know about nuclear theory?
So this is very much like airport terminal. Like there's like restaurants and shops, and like there's like a welcome to Passage like T-shirt, and like food specific to the area here, which is gonna be some form of like pierogies or something.
Pierogi.
Delicious.
Pierogies and like sausages and such, and Jara, normally I would give this to Ulcir first, but because you are noticeably out ahead, you hear the sound of like a scream and running.
Oh, Jara will immediately stop being joyous and happy and immediately change into, I have to find out what's going on there.
So, and the sounds of gunfire you start hearing.
Okay, he's still running.
All right. And what you will see, because the area or the gates where you kind of let out from kind of have already merged with like the commercial flights, but you kind of go into an area that kind of connects to the train station itself. If you are going to see what's causing this, you will be the first to see a group of people running away from another group of people. Both groups of people have what look like guards in armor. The ones who are running kind of in your general direction, but don't really appear to be looking at you, involve two people in robes, dressed not all too dissimilarly from how you used to dress sort of as a warlock, kind of robes, figures. There's a guy in like glasses and things. There's two police-looking robots and several warforged running away from what appear to be other guards and two police-looking robots. I will show you the map. Locations are not going to be exactly where they are, but this is kind of what it's looking like.
Oh, goodness. And I have no idea who's even who.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, boy.
We haven't had a good fight in, like, 24 hours?
Let's go!
Getting in a fight? I can't think of a
Maybe.
music appropriate.
I'm ready.
Maybe.
Oh, here.
Because so here's the thing: you see this happening, and you're kind of getting to a point. Most civilians have kind of cleared out, and one thing you will notice is that no one is firing at you, even though they are running in your general direction.
Mm-hmm.
Was matching them, and now they're running at him?
Well, they're going where you came from, largely.
Oh, so they're trying to exit behind him.
Yes, and they're being followed.
And Jara will go, who am I helping here?
Are we from
Who
behind?
is the good guys?
Like, we just like see Jara like book it, and we're like, oh wait a minute.
Yep, basically. So let me change the location of where people are based
Oh.
on.
Important point to note is that Vigius's morning song for you all now gives you 13 temporary hit points every single day.
Oh my god!
Hell yeah.
And the person in the front, a man with like a two-colored head of hair, he has like a small rod, and he has like a gold and black with a lot of actually gold and like a scarf on. He's like, excuse me, sir, which is the fastest way out? I need to get out of here.
I think it's the way behind me. Are you being chased? Do you need help?
Yes, please, make way. Yeah, please. We're not after you.
Sure. And he'll just kind of like get out of the way, I guess, to this pillar.
All right. You can not be an initiative or be an initiative as things are happening, because you can very clearly see that they do not want to fight you.
Okay. I'm going to hold a spell until I have the ability to know what's going on here.
All right. And this kind of chubby-looking guy is in control of robots that seem to be firing backwards at these, at the guards and robots here. There are at least police robots kind of going in. They're the only things that are firing backwards. Everybody else is just running and trying to book it as quickly as they can. This other person kind of creates a globe of darkness trying to slow things down around here. And you all are kind of in witness to this situation occurring.
What did Jara run into?
I don't know. I don't know if these guys are robbing this place. I don't know if they're running, if they're the police retreating. I don't know.
Sujin, as we're so we all see Jara launch off. Do we all just instantly start chasing him?
Well, do you?
Way I started blasting.
I don't know. Do I see Jara anywhere? As I walk casually to where I think Jara would be.
Yeah, how far ahead was Jara?
Well, I imagined enough so that Volsir could make a coy joke about Jara without me being
Oh,
heard.
that's fair.
So at least 20 or 30 feet.
I also heard gunshot.
Yeah, I was gonna say we would have all heard the gunshot.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, no, you did, but Jara first started hearing things before you did because he was a bit closer.
Kujin is first and foremost.
Where's that gunshot there?
Yeah. Looks like we're running towards the gunshots. According to Jara, for safety, Valaris. And he will take him. And he, God damn it, he's gonna cast Greater Invisibility on Valaris.
Thank you.
This is not the city we need to be drawing attention in, and yet 5 steps off the plane, here we are. He says,
Well,
concentration. Don't feel like you need to keep up exactly with us, but I guess try to follow, as Valaris is invisible and he just books it.
I need to know what.
Yes, I'm okay with that.
oh my god, did we give him life alert? What if he falls?
He's talking off nothing.
So, in the face of things, you see several looking guards and things kind of come up. Basically the gunshots are coming from the police robots, largely.
As we make it up, Sujin's gonna be saying loudly to Ulster, should we be helping the people that are being shot by the police?
Do we see the police now and these people running over?
Oh yeah. The thing is that both sides have a police robot.
Right.
It's just one of them has 2 police robots and one has 1.
Oh, the one that's correct always has more, right?
I'm confused.
It would be ill-advised for us to get in this We just got here. We cannot make a name for ourselves.
I don't know. I just heard gunshots and I came to help.
I need to get you a leash is what I need to do.
Please, people, get out of the way! Get out of the way! We're trying to get out of here!
Why?
Don't ask questions, I can't answer them, meow!
You can answer the meow.
Can answer the meow.
Are there any innocents in the air?
I mean,
At this
they
point,
could
all
all
of
be
them have run
innocents.
away except for thanks for the tip.
Oh my gosh, what is happening?
Thanks for the.
This guy here. He's the only innocent guy who's deciding to watch and drink instead of run away.
He's just chilling.
Yep.
Watch me drinking. I'm not gonna bother to save him.
This is great. I love this show.
Oh, Seer's gonna get out
Exactly.
of the way, but he is curious. I mean, this has gotten his attention. He's not gonna. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Regis is watching.
Yeah. Sujin is like, kind of like, here to see as they like run past.
So
It just has a hypnotic pattern ready to go.
okay.
And Sujin has I'm gonna say a grease ready to go.
Jara has
One
a whole
thing you
person
notice
set.
as these people start going by is that at least 3 of them are dressed as guards, and there are 2 warforged that appear to be like construction workers, and there are 2 small automatons, not too dissimilar from like what Shohal has in Furbies, only they're clearly robots, and 1 police robot along with them, as they're being followed by guards that are very much like the stop where you are, very clearly trying to get them to stop moving.
Regis,
And
I hate this.
Regis shouts at the guards, the ones who are trying to get them to stop. What did they do? This seems morally gray.
Excuse me, can I go by you to the left, please? We need to get out of here. Yep.
I like that Valorant isn't actually moving. Someone runs into him.
There you go. Several people dressed up as guards. At this point, they're running
Dressed up
past
as
Jaro.
guards? Is that like, can I perception check them and see?
Yes.
Oh my god. All right. Oh yeah, 17.
They are, in fact, one of them looks like it's an old guard uniform, like maybe he was retired from like a few years back. The rest of them look contemporary, like they are similar to the people that are chasing them.
Seer is definitely perceptioning as they get close enough.
They won't even tell me what they did. Last year, what did they do?
I'm also
They-
checking something, and
well,
then I'm gonna
these
do
guys-
something.
These guys aren't hearing Vigis because you're like all the way up here. So, are you asking the guys who did it what they did?
No, I'm asking the guards who are trying to stop them. I'm like shouting at them.
Oh, they're like, thieves! Thieves!
What does
Just
Olseer
all-
get with a 20? Oh, go.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what does Olseer get with a 22 perception as he looks at these guys? I'm guessing something similar to Jara, but are they like expired, like military or police uniforms?
Only one of them is. The one thing you'll notice with a 22 is that this person has like something that indicates he's actually like a school teacher or professor on him. And the same thing you'll notice with this guy too, is they appear to be like instructors for a
Alright.
school in a school.
Can Jara cast a spell?
Yes.
Jara's going to cast Hold Person at a 4th level.
Oh god.
And teacher?
Who are you casting it on?
I'm gonna pick some targets. Give me a second. Just gonna
Oh,
display
he's
it.
doing it. That's the sound of the police.
Yeah, that's right. Let me get zoomed in here. I want to see who looks interesting.
Since I'm the police.
I'm gonna get going fast. I calculate our chances. Too late, already seen, and get out of my way.
Oh, he's going for the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 2 guards and 2 teachers. All right. Teacher 1 and teacher 2 are the first 2, and the 2 guards are 3 and 4.
Fuck.
Oh well, literally the guy get going fast is probably the only one who failed. He's the guy in front. The guy in front is like.
Osiris sees him stop and then looks around at his spellcaster part.
And Jara is holding his hand, and you can see that one string on his finger is caught out of the 4 he threw.
Are up like he hasn't done anything yet.
Well, I guess we're doing this. Vigis will hypnotic pattern everyone on the stairs.
Oh my god!
Osiris, let's go with the word
Sujan's like, no.
Polaris will be like, we need to get out of here.
Sleet storm, sleet storm.
We can't have these guys questioning us.
Our adventuring group cannot be adventuring.
He made a map.
Like,
He made a map. It was meant to be.
A very aggressive growl at Vigis and being like, no, 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 no.
Fear screams down at Jara, what did we just talk about?
And Jara's just, you can see he's got one string of shadow on his finger holding that guy.
Are we going in order of, are we in initiative or are we just going as is? Because if that's the case, Sujan's gonna rapid fire 2 counter spells, 1 at Vigis, 1 at Jara.
You can do that. You can do that.
He's gonna rapid fire. Like, he's just gonna be like, all of a sudden that string is cut, Jara, and Vigis, as you try to start your song, your throat goes dry, and you just look back at teenage Dollar Tree Sujin, and he is like, looking like he will murder you.
As far as everyone else in the room is concerned, some guy just randomly started to play the tuba poorly.
Olsir's gonna roll a joking but not really intimidation. It's not great, but it's still not.
So, in response to that, he's not going towards Olsir. He's gonna go out here. Like,
And Jara go, no, wait.
Sujin will just like slide right against the banister in front of Vigis, being like, just let it go.
I'm gonna have to agree with Sujin on this one.
I'll up the ante. Bitches, if you do that again, I will kill you.
Right. In.
What is that giant word? What's happening?
That was a darkness that was cast by somebody who not it disappears because. Actually, no, they didn't because the hypnotic pattern was counterspelled. If you will let it go now because it's not blocking anyone anymore. And they are rushing out. And they are rushing out the door. And if you do not do anything, they will disappear outside. Most of them will disappear outside the corner of this map very quickly. And in the visibility, what you will see is something Sujin would recognize as what looks like kind of like a roguish looking woman, and the first thing she'll do is she'll pull out a scroll and very quickly use it to cast a spell, and in doing so will basically teleport. Right here. And as a cutting action, kind of also pull out like a bead and a necklace, and then also cast a hypnotic pattern here.
For the people that are running by.
Yes.
Sujin just watches, he's like, we cannot mess with this. First thing on the first 20 minutes in the city.
Sujin, you get a sending from Valaris.
Oh
as this is happening, and he's just like, "There's a black door. We gotta get out of here. They're gonna kidnap me forever if they see me."
I like calls coming from Dolores.
Would you like to answer?
Going to look around and let's go the exit this way that they were wanting to go. And he is going to like look at the three here and be like, we need to go now. And he will also send a message to Dara and be like, make your way back up here as quickly and as immediately as possible. We need to go.
Can I just wait for them to leave and then go?
They got hypnotic pattern. These people are frozen right now.
Yep.
Well, I can just walk through them
no.
then.
Nah.
Yeah, no. After that, it will take very little time. She will cast a spell that will effectively tie all of them up, except for the three that ran out.
Yeah, we're gonna be very quickly exiting this building so that she doesn't pay attention to the fact that Sujin cast 2 spells and 2 of his allies. One did cast a spell and one attempted to cast.
Yep.
There's a lot of magic being thrown around in there right now.
Listen.
So,
Do we make it out?
yeah, no, you were able to get out. There's a focus. The guards kind of catch up. Another person kind of comes out of invisibility. Just very much like for the queen here, and it'll take a minute. As Jara, as you are going to go through, the only thing that will happen is that one of the 2 women that is completely covered in the mask will be like, "Do you know these people?"
Wait, they're approaching who?
As Jara is going
Oh.
by.
What people?
You don't know them. You are free to go.
Oh, all right. Have a good day.
And they will say nothing else. And you were able to go past them.
That was amazing.
What a
As soon
time,
as
team.
we are, as soon as we are in the clear, Olsir's gonna turn to John, and he's gonna briskly walk towards him.
Oh no, I didn't mean to do this. I'm sorry.
And he's gonna not like he's not like murderous threatening, but like he looks like a disappointed father,
Oh, that's even worse.
furrow browed, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
I'm
What
trying.
was your plan?
I was trying to help people. I heard gunshots that somebody could have gotten hurt.
Do you even know who these people are?
No, but do you have to know somebody to help them?
Running away was definitely the least fun option.
Jara's just going to like look at Vigis real quick and then back at Olsir.
Lauren, you died once before. Could you be so foolish? You don't know who these people are. You don't know if they're innocent. You know nothing about. And more importantly, we have someone in our care who could have been very much affected by.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Sujin, will put his.
What the fuck, bro? You can't just drop that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Sujin.
Dude.
He will put his hand on, as like Olsir's going in this, he'll walk up and put his hand on like Olsir's arm to be like, okay, we're still in public, like.
Olsir would do this if there was no one preferably around.
Okay.
Oh no, it's pretty cleared.
But either way, he'll still put his hand on your arm and like look at Jara and be like, it's a very big city. Unfortunately, you will likely hear more gunshots here.
Oh.
It's big cities do breed a bit of
Violence.
yes.
Corruption?
Yes. But
Can't speak.
unfortunately, we can't be everywhere at once. And Ulsir is right. Valaris is under our protection right now in a city where he is very much in danger, as are all of us. We just have to be careful.
This world is black. This world is not black and white, Jara. It is nothing but gray. You mean well, but
You
just-
hear from invisibility in Jara. Oh, Valaris is like,
Lars.
you. No, I'm sorry to be petrified right now, but that is the Queen's personal guard, the personal spies, assassins. They are the most dangerous people for us to see, and to be seen by them. If they so much as know who I am, and casually see us walking together, they will have permission to go in our rooms when we're asleep and kidnap us. And no one will stop them from it. You cannot take
Reese.
chances.
everything you do in this world has a reaction.
I did not expect them to be there, but I guess it makes sense. This is the capital.
Ulster kind of cuts you off, Jara.
Yeah.
You died one time. You have to wake up now. The world isn't what you think it is.
I have to think. Did Jara die on this journey yet?
Yeah,
Well,
you didn't die.
like-
But did you wait? You didn't tell us that you.
Jara was
You didn't say that.
Jara was banished. He didn't die.
Yeah, but he lost his
Whole mind.
He
mind.
lost his.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was hit with the stupefy spell, the one that makes you a blithering dolt and then
People
sent
die.
into the death realm to roam alive, which is just a terrible way to live.
We freed you from that. Whatever. Don't even remember what it was. You've got to wait.
I'm sorry. I'm just not used to this helping people thing, and I really want to try.
Well, no one says helping someone's bad, but we do have to prioritize Valar's safety.
We have been helping people and helping Valaris at the same time. It's not like we failed, nor have you. We just have to be aware as our surroundings change. This is a very big, very dense, very secure city. It's not like anywhere we've been before. Not together, at least.
In the meantime, I think it's best if maybe I stop making all the decisions.
Agreed, I should take charge.
Hell
We'll make them- we'll make them together under Valaris's guide as our employer.
You're right.
Just go to the hotel. We cannot be. The less time we are here, the better now.
Sujin kind of peeks out of the building and looks at the street. For the most part, we're far enough away that like it looks clear. Or is it still like heavy police presence?
Where you are is relatively clear, but there is a running guard presence too, the way they ran out of, because 3 of them did appear to escape.
Let's go find either a train station or we might have to rent a car while we're here. But we'll find out. Let's go.
So there is a tram to the boardwalk. The hotel that you will be staying in is actually closer to the shore of Lake Gallifrey, which is the largest lake in the continent, which is basically like, Great Lake size kind of a
Mhm.
deal. And
Are we in Chicago?
I didn't even think about it as compared to Chicago, but yeah, you're here in fantasy Chicago.
Love it.
And you were able to find like a tram or train. There's a series of roads. Now there are a few automobiles, there's a few horse and carriages, but in the middle there is sort of the line train that kind of goes in, that can kind of go into a downward slope to the streets that kind of go close to the boardwalk, where you will see a large 10-story building with a sign indicating the Galandra.
Sujin will keep greater invisibility on Valaris during this time, just for safety purposes.
I'm not saying this because I read what greater invisibility's time is. It might just want to be regular invisibility.
Oh, is it only? I thought it was an hour.
It's
an hour.
So regular invisibility is an hour, but any actions will break it. Or I think hostile, whatever. Greater invisibility allows you to do whatever you want, but it only lasts for a minute.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, no, it
I
probably
definitely-
got out before you guys got out,
Yeah.
but
which,
it worked
if
because
that's
he
the
did
case-
do ascending while he was greater invisible.
Yeah, so he absolutely would have cast regular invisibility back, just to keep little Valaris off, to keep him from falling apart.
There's a moment or two in the various tram ride, people going in and off, where people brush against an invisible Valaris and are just like, what? What happened? What's in there? And then they just kind of go out. And then once you make it to the hotel, it is relatively lavish. It's got a lot of warm colors, but it's a big chandelier, big, nice kind of like art fixture fountain in the center kind of place. There's a kind of like center, like there's like a center roof around like various like hallways and things visible up until like at least the third or fourth floor before you start going up higher. Alaris will be like, at this point, I can get your rooms because I'm planning on ordering us a suite.
Why don't we take care of this? And Sujin will walk up to the counter as Teenage Mutant Ninja Sujin, and he will ring the bell to gain the attention of the, I don't know, the desk. What are they? I don't know what they're called. The desk person?
The receptionist?
Receptionist.
Yes, that is
rocket science.
that is the right term for this, and
Hotel receptionist. I was like, is there a differentiation if it's for a hotel?
so
I don't
it's
know.
not all that different from the kind of get up and what you got at the Gallon Services in when you were in Zolenberg, but it's a bit nicer and everyone's human that's doing it. This isn't gnome sized.
Out of character, what is Valaris' last name again?
L9.
Aelnide?
L9.
Aelnide. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. Sujin will ring the bell, and as soon as someone catches his eye, he's like, hello, I'm here to check in for Valaris Aelnide. I am his assistant. I would like to get his rooms ready as quickly as possible.
Oh, it seemed that you were looking for a seventh floor suite with 6 rooms. That'll be about 100 gold a night.
For how many nights is it currently available?
That's true. Yeah, so that'll be a total of 3,000 because he had voted for 30 nights.
He will pull out the platinum and put it on the counter.
They will nod. A little bit surprised to see it in that manner, but they will take it, be like, give you a key. They'll give you a key to it.
And just for prepare, what time do any attendants come to clean the rooms?
They come in the morning, between 8 and 10.
Can we make sure it's between 9 and 10 a.m.?
Yes.
Thank you.
And
and the quickest way up?
There is an elevator there. That will be the fastest way up.
And Sujin will nod, turn back to everyone, and be like, "Follow me." And
Jaro
he'll
just follows
go up.
Sujin.
Like elevator, with like the little like watch
There-
hand
I
that
was
goes
gonna
up.
say, is it big enough? I mean, it's a hotel elevator, but is it big enough to have all of us
Barely. It's a little tight.
with invisible Valaris stuffed?
Yeah, no. Elizabeth Polaris will be just invisible enough to fool somebody into thinking there's space in there, and they'll bump into an invisible space and go like, "Oh, how did that happen?" And then the door will close.
We will make it up to the floor, and Sujin will find the front door, unlock it, open it, and make sure once everyone is in, he will drop his his teenage mutant
GMNS.
form and his GMNS, and he will become normal Sujin and lean over and put his hands on his knees and crouch for a moment.
It's been a bad day.
It is.
He will drop
Yeah,
invisibility for Valaris.
It is. Thank you. I shall. He holds his briefcase and he kind of drops it and then picks it up and then goes onto the couch where there's a coffee table and opens it up.
Is there
And-
a kitchen?
Yes. And it's like,
I'll
kitchen.
prepare some tea in the meantime.
yes, please. Yeah, Sujin, I'll get the amount that you had paid for me, and yes, thank you for keeping me out of sight there. I am the one who was part of House Kenneth, but as a warning that I'm sure you all already know, people knowing how to fight or do things is allowed, but if they sense that you're a group doing this any amount professionally, that will draw attention, because this is the country where a group of adventurers hired by House Kenneth led to the destruction of Fairhaven. So be aware that the soar for this law's existence is at its highest here. If anyone suspects that you are all part of a team and are all capable of doing things, that'll draw attention in and of itself. Now, I don't know how big of a deal that is if you're not connected to me, but if they know it has anything to do with House Kenneth, they will have all the evidence they need to go after us. So please, may our travels not involve our own action.
I need to get some and unpack.
All right.
Jaro fucked this up so bad.
So I think that's a decent place to leave it.
Dar, give
Charles
yourself
just-
-6 level.
Yeah.
Jar was just trying to be a good guy, and
I know it's so great. It's also like I love it because it's a great character thing to do. Well, Sirius flipping shit.
I
We
have
were in town for a
succeeded.
minute.
I have succeeded in making that not a black and white thing to do, even though he is very, very clearly acting in a morally righteous way. I love it.
David, why do you
It
hurt me
just
so
saw spells.
good?
They just saw spells flying and wanted in on the action.
Well, of
It's
course.
just like, oh boy, I get to play around too.
And I just do imagine the sound that his tuba made when that counter spell hit. Wow.
All right, guys.
Mwah.
I'll see you next week.
All right.
Yeah, next week,
All
same
right.
time.
Until next week.
Till next week, friends.
Everything will be just fine.
Yeah.
It's really great. We divulged the nuclear codes. We almost
Yes.
got Valaris put in
Yes.
a cage. It's fucking great.
Yes.
Kyle's like, yes, I know, it was Dara both times.
I know who did this. I know who perpetrated it. I still love him.
I am him. He is me.
Sleep with one eye open.
He
No,
just
sleep with
wants
them both open.
to help.
And I love it. I love it. He's a great character, and I don't fault you, of course, for doing any of it.
It's
Ulster
so
wants to
good.
punch
I love it.
It's so good because like we all understand it too. We all know that it's just
Yeah.
him. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see you next.
See you guys next week. If anyone is bored on Thursday, Halloween morning, I will be up bright and early and streaming my Dragon Age Veilguard adventure
Ooh.
because I will be living that dream for the entire weekend.
Will you be streaming at like 1:30 your time? Because that's when I get home from work and I can watch.
I will probably like when I get up in the morning because I'm going to download it at midnight. I'm gonna sleep like normal, and then when I wake up, probably around 8 to 9 a.m., I will start playing it.
Hell
But
yeah.
I will probably spend like 3 hours in the character creation. So
Perfect.
Are you streaming it like on Twitch? Or are you streaming it on Discord?
probably just on Discord. I have no Twitch. I don't.
No, that's fine. I'll check it out. Hopefully, I'll be around. All right,
Yeah,
bye.
absolutely.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
homies.
Bye,
Bye,
friends.
guys.
Good night.
Oh, God, chat, that was fun. Thanks for stopping in, everybody. It's been fun. I hope you enjoy the content. And I'll see you next time.